Hello children, it's assembly number 3 and it's week 6. We've had lots of assemblies this week in the hall. We did one in the research centre. I'm going to stay in the hall today. Shall we have a little look at our board? Yes. Okay, so what's the time, Mr. Wolf? I can see that the minute hand, that's the long hand, it is on the, yes, on the 12. We all know that means, that's right, o'clock. And I can see that the shorthand, that's the minute hand, is on the 10. So it must be, that's right, 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock at night, you know it, sound asleep. 10 o'clock in the morning, raring to go from all that sleep. What else have we got on our board? Our language of the month. Don't know if you can see that. Sorry, children. Language of the month. It's Bulgarian, isn't it? Dratse, drave. And then our Makaton sign of the week is to be careful. To be careful. I want to think about that word, careful, just one more time. So we're going to think about being careful. Oh, I've got something to show you. Are you ready? Look. You see this? Wow. What do you think it is? Whisper to the person next to you. That's right, it's a shell, isn't it? It's a shell which I found on a beach. It's very, very lovely. I know that lots of people sometimes hold them up to their ears because they think they can hear the sea. I have to be really, really careful with this, don't I? Okay. Now, I didn't actually find it. I found it at a sea shop near the beach. Somebody else found it though, and when they found it, they had been a bit like, what's that theme? Oh yeah, our whole school theme is great explorers. They'd been like an explorer. And I want to talk to you about an explorer today. Now, this explorer is not alive anymore. But without this explorer, we wouldn't know as much as we do today about something I know is very important to many of you. Jason, are you there? When Jason first started at Hartford Infant School, the only thing that he would talk about was, wait for it, these amazing creatures. That's right, he loved to think about dinosaurs. He knew all the names of the different dinosaurs. Now, Mrs. Lee's not very good at the names of the dinosaurs, so if I say anything wrong today, please come find me on the playground and correct me. But I want to tell you about a great explorer who lived in the United Kingdom, where we all live. My basket, I've got this very special book. And her name is called Mary Anning. And look at Mary Anning, look at her clothes, just by looking at that picture, straight away tells me that this story is set in the past, a long time ago, when girls wore long, long dresses. We don't really wear dresses like that anymore. Now, Mary Anning lived in a place called Lyme Regis. You can go there on holidays near the beach. And she would find things like this, little shells, but she also started to find something. She didn't know what they were. Okay, she used to find things and she would call them curiosities. Can you say that word for me? Curiosities. Things that she didn't know what they were, but they were interesting. She used to find them on the beach. She used to find them in the hills and the cliffs along the beach. And they were actually, does anybody know? That's right, they were actually fossils. Now, if you ever get a chance to, or you might have some books like this at home, they will tell you all about looking for fossils. We have people called paleontologists who look out for fossils in the ground, and then they can find out more about the world way, way back in the past. Now, that's what Mary Anning was. She didn't know it at the time. She didn't even know that she was an explorer. She was just finding little things on the beach that were curious, that caught her attention. She thought, oh, I wonder what that is. So I'm going to read to you about Mary Anning. And the reason I'm reading to you about Mary Anning is it's her birthday this week. Now, she's no longer alive, And just like last week, we celebrated Florence Nightingale's birthday. And then a while back, last month, we celebrated Queen Elizabeth II's birthday. This week, if she'd been alive, it would be Mary Anning's birthday. So we'd have to get a little bag of bits and pieces to celebrate her birthday. And like I said, she's really important because she was an explorer and she found out lots and lots about fossils. In fact, she found the first, now this is where Mrs. Lee might say it wrong, Ichthyosaurus. You might be thinking, what's an Ichthyosaurus? Well, I'll show you. Ichthyosaurus. They call it, all right, the fish lizard. And she found the whole skeleton for one of these in the cliffs in Lyme Regis near where she lived. So Mary Anning was born in 1799. That is a long time ago. It's over 200 years ago. And she lived in a place called Lyme Regis in Dorset. And you can go there. It's in the south of the United Kingdom. You can go there on holiday. And when she was very, very tiny, she got hit by lightning. And luckily she survived, but from that day onwards, she was always very, that's right, careful, and she was very independent and wanted to do things and find out about things, and she lived every day to its maximum. Anyway, here we go. Let's find out more about her. Here she is, walking along the beach in Lyme Regis with her dog. And she always carried a book with her that she liked to write down notes and do drawings. There she is, when she was very tiny, got struck by lightning. And this is her dad, and he was called Pepper. And everybody called him Pepper because his beard had like peppery colours in it. It was all speckled. And he loved Mary very much, but they didn't have very much money. So what they used to do was go down to the beach, and they would look in the beach, all right, and look for things. And they would find these, as they called them, curiosities. Now we know that they're called fossils. At the end of this video, have a little look because we could see Miss Stenning White when she went over to Grafham Water with her little girl and they found little fossils. I hope you enjoy it. You might have seen it before in lockdown, but I thought I'd tag it on to the end of this video because it's very sweet. Anyway, we know these are called fossils, but at the time, Mary and her dad Pepper didn't know. Look at his little hammer just there. Had to be very, very careful when he was knocking out the fossil from the cliff. Now, Mary loved them. She thought about them at night time. She dreamed about them and wondered where they'd come from. And lots of the children, they weren't very kind to her. They used to laugh at her because she didn't spend time playing. She was always on the beach looking for shells and fossils. Well, one winter, it was very, very sad. Pepper, Mary Anning's daddy, died. It's very, very sad, okay? And Mary was on her own. And remember, she was very poor, and her mother and her were like, what can we do? So what Mary did was she started to sell some of her fossils. And there was 3 ladies that came along, and they were called the Philpott Sisters. Now, the Philpott Sisters had quite a lot of money, and they knew about these curiosities, and they knew they were called fossils because they had been reading books about them. And they bought the curiosities, the fossils, from Mary Anning. So Mary Anning had some money. And they said to Mary Anning, can you find some more? Can you find some bigger ones? And Mary Anning knew that there were more fossils out there. So Mary Anning went out to the cliffs. And he was barking quite a way up the cliffs. And Mary Anning decided that she would be careful, but she would go up. And can you see what he's barking at? That's right, in the cliffs, he'd found the Ichthyosaurus. Mary Anning used her little hammer very, very carefully, and she managed to find his skull. And then she started to dig more, and she started to find the rest of his skeleton. Wow. Lots of people had to help her because it was so big. In fact, you can see an Ichthyosaurus if you go to Cambridge, to one of the museums in Cambridge. you'll be able to see what an Ichthyosaurus skeleton looks like. It's very, very big. Anyway, the rest of the town were really, really excited, and all the children that had been a bit nasty to her, a bit unkind to her by laughing at her, were really amazed that she'd found something so exciting. And can you see the men carrying it through the town? It went to a museum, okay? It took 6 strong men to carry that. It was more than 165 million years old. I know. Wow. Look at that. Now, visitors came all from around the country to come and see it, and lots of famous scientists did as well, and they took it away, and now it's in a museum, all right? And it meant that Mary Anning had more money to carry on doing what she wanted to do, which was finding more curiosities or fossils or skeletons. In fact, she found so many, she even has a little rhyme about her. I love this rhyme. Okay, are you ready? See if Mrs. Lee can do it. She sells seashells on the seashore. The shells that she sells are seashells, I'm sure. So if she sells seashells on the seashore, I'm sure that she didn't do it. I'm sure that the shells are seashore shells. Right, if you want to come and have a look at this book or any of the dinosaur books that I've got in my office, please come down at lunchtime if dinosaurs and fossils are things that you're interested in. And happy birthday to Mary Anning, and thank you to Mary Anning for being so careful and so kind and finding lots of curiosities for us to look at nowadays. Okay, we're going to finish there. Right, we'll finish with our school prayer. Help me to do the things I should, to be to others kind and good, in all my work and all my play, to grow more loving every day. Amen. Bye.
Hello.
Hello.
I know it's a bit strange that we're not all at school at the moment, but we can still go out and explore, which is what we've been doing today. We've been to Grafham. What have we been doing?
Finding fossils.
That's right, we've been doing some fossil hunting. What have we found? We have found some, can you remember what these ones are called?
Belemnites.
Belemnites, that's right. Can you see these? Pointy ones, got some big ones. And some little shiny ones too, that are quite pretty. Yeah. Some little shiny ones too. And these are from a very strange squid-like animal that lived in the dinosaur times. So in the Jurassic period, a long, 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 long time ago. And I can show you here. This is the animal that it has come from, and the part of the animal that it's from is its tail. It's called a rostrum. And some other fossils we have found are ammonites. That's part.
And
Devil's
toenails.
And devil's toenails. That's a big one, isn't it, Neve, you found there? So these are parts of an ammonite. You can see all the ridges. And here's what it looks like in the middle of its shell. And ammonite is also a creature that lived a long, long time ago in the dinosaur times, and it was a sea creature. And this is what it looked like here. You can see its spiral shell. And this one here, a griffia, or a devil's toenail, that's the other one we found. So we've got lots of these ones, big ones like this, and some very little ones too, like this. And they were oysters that lived a long, long time ago in the dinosaur times. So we found lots of exciting fossils that we're now scrubbing nicely. Aren't you doing a good job there with your old toothbrush, scrubbing the fossils? So next time you go somewhere like Grafham, take a walk along the edge of the water where the bays are, and see if you can do some fossil hunting too. Yeah, see if you can find some fossils. Well, I hope you enjoyed our video. Bye-bye.